Sports rivalries are nothing new. We've seen them across the spectrum in a variety of sports. Some rivalries, however, garner more attention than others. In baseball, the Yankees versus the Dodgers. In the NFL, the Packers versus the Bears. And in hockey, the Maple Leafs versus the Canadiens. But stay tuned and don't go away, because an NBA champ is floored by an Aussie rivalry. First up, is there a fierce rivalry brewing between Australia's Illawarra Hawks and Sydney Kings? You're about to find out. NBA champion Ian Clark is floored by the fierce rivalry developing between the Illawarra Hawks and Sydney Kings. The rivalry has left an indelible impression on Clark, and he's extremely excited for their playoff series to get underway. For those of you who don't know, Clark played basketball at an elite level in America, Asia, and now in Australia. A few years back, in 2017, Clark was Steph Curry's right-hand man during the Golden State Warriors NBA title run. But when Clark started playing at the Wollongong Entertainment Centre in early April, he quickly realized that he was part of a rivalry unlike anything he'd ever seen before in professional basketball. Clark, who is now a guard for the Sydney Kings, wears the number 21 and was recently asked about what it's like to play for the Kings. Clark had this to say: "I didn't know how big it was until the game actually started. The crowd was going wild, and you see how intense it is being in that environment. It's going to be fun. Everyone has been looking forward to seeing us go against them in the playoffs. I love these kinds of moments when it's do or die, when you know that these are the steps and the things that you have to do, and it's non-negotiable." Next up, what's happening with the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers? Let's take a look. Some professional basketball insiders in Australia feel that the Jack Jumpers, Australia's newest team, lack not only the financial backing, but the talent to get things done. Some have been harsher, calling the Jack Jumpers a team of rejects, and one basketball insider said that they are, quote, the least talented team in the competition. And there's no denying the fact that the team has certainly had its issues. Their rookie coach almost walked out on them, and their mascot is a native species of ant that has a terrible bite that can send victims to the hospital. At the start of their first season, the Jack Jumpers lost 6 out of 8 games, and now they're about to play in a series of 5 grand finals against one of the top teams in the NBL, the Sydney Kings. Many are calling it a David and Goliath fight, but underdogs have surprised us in the past, and after all, we know things didn't work out all that well for Goliath, so anything's possible. The Jack Jumpers chief executive, Simon Brookhouse, says, "There's been a lot of commentary about us being the least talented team in the competition, and to be fair, the least talented team commentary isn't far off the mark if you look at the individuals, the statistics, and their previous basketball careers. But what they are, who they are, have galvanized into a fantastic team." Clearly, Brookhouse thinks that his Jack Jumpers have come a long way and have what it takes to get the job done. Up next, how does one Australian WNBA star plan to blaze a trail through Los Angeles? Let's find out. WNBA star Liz Cambage has been confidently outspoken about her desire to play in Los Angeles for the Sparks. Cambage recently flexed her prowess at the Sparks practice facility, and she's now the team's new star center. The Sparks are welcoming Cambage with open arms, and one player even offered to cook her a meal. Cambage happily accepted. She revealed, "I think I'm the most sound and relaxed that I've been in a long time. I'm where I want to be. I'm surrounded by the people I want to be surrounded with, and we're working hard." Despite being new to the Sparks family, Cambage is certainly not shying away from being assertive and is already showing her leadership skills. During the practice, she was seen yelling, "Execute," as the team was running drills, and after Sparks coach Derek Fisher addressed the team, Cambage followed up with some constructive, morale-boosting commentary of her own. Cambage's raw intensity on and off the court is something that has really stuck out throughout her unique career, and now many WNBA players have her size, speed, confidence, and honesty. This same intensity and confidence are why Cambage takes down rebounds and scores easy baskets. Cambage's one-year deal with the LA Sparks is worth $170,000, far less than she earned with the Las Vegas Aces. For Cambage, however, relocating to LA is well worth the pay cut. We'd like to wish Liz all the best in her future endeavors. Stay tuned and don't go away, because we're traveling to the other side of the world and bringing you the latest NBA news. Next up, how much can Joel Embiid really change this series? Well, you're about to find out. Embiid, Philadelphia's best player, is sidelined with a broken orbital bone and concussion. But the biggest question heading into this series is whether James Harden can turn back into the sort of #1 offensive player he's been for most of the past 10 years. But with Harden's recent lackluster play, all eyes are again turning to Embiid. Everyone's wondering when he might return to the series, and if he does, how big of a difference he'll be able to make. Prior to Game 2, John Clark from NBC Sports said that Embiid was progressing well and that there was some hope among the team that he could return for Game 3. It was also reported that Embiid can now look at the screen of his cell phone without the brightness bothering him. Brightness can sometimes bother those who are recovering from a concussion. Sixers coach Doc Rivers said that Embiid has many steps to go through and hasn't cleared them yet. To be honest though, even a version of Embiid at half strength would be a huge boost for the Sixers. The return of Embiid, the NBA scoring champ, would restore order and balance to an offense that has been seriously struggling without him, and it would definitely lift some of the weight off of Harden's shoulders. Up next, which Memphis Grizzlies player has been suspended for Game 3? Let's take a look. Canadian baller Dillon Brooks has been suspended for Game 3 of the Grizzlies' second-round series against the Golden State Warriors. Brooks was quickly ejected from Game 2 after committing a flagrant foul on Gary Payton. Payton fractured his left elbow and will miss at least 3 weeks with the injury. The foul happened early in Game 2 when Payton went up for a dunk and Brooks took him down with a hard hit to the head. The Warriors coach, Steve Kerr, wasn't sure whether or not the play was intentional, but believed it was certainly dirty. According to Kerr, Brooks crossed a line and said, "Playoff basketball is supposed to be physical, but there is a code that players follow where you never put a guy's season or career in jeopardy by taking somebody out in midair and clubbing him across the head, ultimately fracturing Gary's elbow. He broke the code. Dillon Brooks broke the code." The Grizzlies and Warriors series has been a rocky one, with Draymond Green being ejected from Game 1 for a hit on Brandon Clark. And while on his way to the locker room in Game 2, Green gave Memphis fans double middle fingers. Next up, who is the 2022 NBA Draft's mystery man? Let's find out. An 18-year-old, 6'11" player from Canada is the NBA Draft's mystery man. His name? Leonard Miller. Miller has no rating on his Rivals recruiting page, and his ranking among small forwards is pretty much non-existent. The only biographical information available on this mystery man lists him as a lanky 6'11", 210-pound forward playing at Fort Erie International Academy in Toronto. Miller has 10 offers pending, and many predict he will attend Kentucky. On April 23rd, Miller played on and off the bench for Canada's under-16 national team in 2019, declared for the NBA Draft. At 18, Miller would be one of the youngest players in the 2022 draft in a league made up of the best players in the world. Just 2 years ago, Miller was an unranked 6'4" guard at Toronto's Victory Rock Prep Academy. However, after a 6-inch growth spurt, he's now on the NBA's radar. He's a shifty ball handler, dominant with his left hand, but ambidextrous, with a wingspan of a player standing at 7'3". During his post-grad season at Fort Erie Academy in Ontario, Canada, Miller averaged 33 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 3.2 assists per game. Finally, will this be WNBA star Candace Parker's last season? Chicago Sky forward Candace Parker is a 6-time All-Star, 2-time MVP winner, and 2-time champion. Parker, now 36, is in the final year of her contract with the Sky and said this will be her last year in the WNBA. After spending the first 13 seasons of her career with the Los Angeles Sparks, she left to join the Sky for the 2021 WNBA season. Parker was born in Missouri, but moved to Naperville, a suburb of Chicago, at a young age. Grew up in Illinois. She accomplished her biggest goal in her first season with the Sky and led the team to a championship. Having achieved everything a player could possibly dream of, it's no surprise that she's ready to retire. Best of luck, Candace. That's a wrap for today's video, sports fans. Thank you for watching.